My only worry is quorum.
Oh,
Tim Knight just emailed me saying he can't make it, but so we'll hope for the best.
okay. You guys had a nice dinner last night?
We did, thank you. Yes, and a lovely cake, so it was all good.
Nice.
It's been a bonus because my two older kids who should be off at college are actually remote at home, so I figured these birthdays are extra special because it's now like extra time with family that I
Everyone's
didn't think we
together.
had. So
Nice.
so yeah, no, it's good.
Good, good.
It's good to view it that way versus it's a pain in the butt. But anyways.
Exactly. The glass is half full, not half empty, right?
Exactly. Too funny. Hi, Tim.
Hi everybody.
Two Tims. Bonfati Baker.
Hello.
I'm going to text some folks about this, quorum and whatnot, because I know Tim Knight can't come, but I'm hoping some other folks will be able to come.
Okay.
What else do you need for a quorum, Anime?
Well, I mean, technically we're not making any, we're not voting on anything. So, but I'm missing Tracy, Nicole, and Sharon can't be here. So, as I said, we're not voting on anything. So can we still meet and discuss right? I think we can.
If it's less than a quorum, I don't know, I'm not the expert on it, but,
I don't think you can.
deliberate.
Yeah.
Nicole's here, Tracy's here.
Oh, goody.
So there you go.
Oh, they're here. Oh, good.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yes.
Greetings,
I love
all.
how things work out sometimes.
Everybody was sitting in the waiting room rather than having a quorum, huh?
Super. Well, so we'll call this meeting to order. I'll take a roll call vote. Tim Bonfati.
Here.
Nicole Drummond.
Here.
Tracy Rogers.
Yes.
Anime O'Shea Brooke. Yay. All right. Well, welcome folks, and welcome to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you. We'll wait for we'll do the minutes later. I figure our time is precious. So I think what's most pressing at hand is the Wheelock Neighborhood Public Forum, and how do we get people to get there? What are we going to focus on, and all that good stuff. So Mike Quinlan, thank you for being here. Do you want to give us some direction in terms of what you think the focus should be regarding the Wheelock, which is going to, we do have a date, Monday, November the 2nd.
Right.
Which is quite soon.
Yeah, I mean, the goal of that meeting is really to begin the conversation with that community about, what their concerns are. Traffic has been a big complaint, and we know that, which is why the project team has been working to get some baseline data on what the actual counts are, compare those to pre-COVID days, so we have a factor You know, let's say it's, you know, 80% or 90% of what the pre-COVID traffic was. We'll be able to compare the studies from multiple periods of time at the same place in town to be able to have some data points to start the discussion. And then, you know, talk about, you know, where are the points of concern for that community, and how can we help mitigate should the Board of Selectmen vote to accept our recommendation on November 10th. Obviously the traffic has been the primary topic there, but you know, we've received, you know, a bunch of emails that I don't know how many in this group have actually read or been through, but our OPM team can forward them if you haven't read them, just to get a gauge for what some of the other concerns may be. I know there's lesser feedback, but still some on maintaining, you know, access to the Holmquist land, which I think we highly intend to do. But talking about, you know, some community members have asked about doing somehow staking out or flagging out where the building will be on the field behind Wheelock. And I know the design team is working on doing a drone flyover to start to look at the site and where this building may fit into it. And that's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, good.
But I think in terms of the meeting with the community, it's mainly to hear about what their major concerns are and start the conversation. See if there's any new ones that we haven't been made aware of. We do have some emails and things like that that outline the basis for the conversation, which again, I think primarily focuses around traffic.
Okay. Now, actually, Owen, do you mind? I wonder if I can do that. Oh no, she's here. Hi, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
Well, how are you? Thank you for popping in.
Of course.
Super. So, question for you guys, much like what we did for the last, this last public forum in terms of getting questions beforehand, did you feel that that was a useful exercise, and should we try and do that for the Wheelock neighborhood?
I think it was helpful because, I mean, we didn't have a lot of time to react to it, which is fine, but in many ways it confirmed what we were going to speak about. And if we did need to make a little tweak, we could. And frankly, I think anytime you ask a community for their input, it's a good practice.
Okay, so we can use that same format, or even Gina and Lynn, perhaps we can use, you know, that same one question questionnaire and tweak it. But do we want to ask name and address or anything on that form in addition to what is your main concern?
I would say yes, so that you don't get those who are perhaps putting their own I guess feeling. It's just part of our public process, so I would say yes.
Okay.
I would agree.
Okay, great. Lynn and Gina, can that be done? And
Yeah,
then what I think there are folks who emailed us directly or emailed, you know, either you know, Mike or whomever. So, and I think there are some folks maybe that we can target that maybe they have community or neighborhood email lists already, if people have book clubs or, you know, neighborhood things, that maybe if we know people in that neighborhood, we can reach out to them to help share it, and then we can put it out on social media and all that good stuff.
Good.
So we have a couple of resources to be able to use to connect with that area. Obviously, anyone from that area who's already contacted us, so we have email addresses for that to help start generating a list. I'm going to work with Christine in Town Hall to identify, and they can go through the Board of Assessors, just the houses that we really want to make sure that we reach out to in that community, and then they can do a quick mailer too to try to get people to attend on the 2nd. But we could do an email to the emails that we have to date and ask people to share it with their
Exactly.
their friends and neighbors.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, that's cool. And then, because Emily suggested a sandwich board last week, which I thought was a great idea that maybe we could put at the corner of Wheelock. Elm, what is that? Elm and South. Do you think that's a good spot for a sandwich board?
I mean, my only concern about that, and I'm open to hearing from everyone on it, but is that this is really supposed to be a targeted forum, and really to focus on that neighborhood's concerns.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we're, really focusing on the people that actually live in that neighborhood, and I don't know, obviously not. It's still a public meeting, and people can attend, but the real participants are really supposed to be the people from that community. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of awkward to me, I guess, is we want to focus it, but it's still a public meeting and people from outside can attend. But I don't know. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I think, Mike, just to explain sort of where I was coming with that is that in another community that I've worked in that was successful for those residents who don't necessarily monitor online meetings or
Right.
Facebook or whatever. In other words, finding different ways that we can reach people. If we feel like the mailing or the direct mail or direct paper is serving that purpose, then maybe the sandwich board isn't available. But just, always thinking, who are we not reaching and how can we get to those?
What if we did a sandwich board but listed the streets that are included in who we wanted, we're hoping to see if you're a resident of, and then list the streets out that we're looking to target.
The tough part is that would probably be a longer list than a sandwich board could contain.
Yeah, I suppose I was thinking, if I'm just trying to visualize it, if we put, if we do consider this, we put a sandwich board at Elm and South Street, and we could say something like Wheelock Neighborhood Public Forum for Dale Street or something of that nature, that it is specifically saying this is for your neighborhood, the Wheelock neighborhood. As a way around that, and with our press release, because I think we should put out a press release for the paper saying that it's the Wheelock Neighborhood Public Forum for the new Dale Street or something to that effect, that we're being specific that it is for their neighborhood, although open. Yay, nay.
To me, that feels like about the best we're going to be able to manage. In a normal situation, at a neighborhood center, whether you have it at a gymnasium or somebody's house, it tends to be a little more self-selective than the virtual could be. So
Right.
I think to your point, if you say it's for the neighborhood meeting and others show up, I think you're going to have to live with that.
But I think that you can also set some ground rules that as long as you've advertised it, that it is for the neighborhood and that those are the questions we're going to take first, and
Yep.
sort of make sure, that people that from the neighborhood get their questions out.
And we can do that through the assessors list that we'll get from town hall. So we'll know names and addresses. And virtually we can do, sort of a webinar where those people are allowed to speak, first and foremost, and we can go through by names and allow those people access. So I think as long as we have that list, we should be okay in terms of, who we're really looking to hear from.
Okay, cool. So with the Board of Assessors, that's actually a great resource. So would the plan be to just make up a little postcard and send it directly to to that list you're going to get from Christine, Mike?
Yeah, I got to talk to Christine. She had some ideas about how to do a mailer.
All right. Cool.
I think maybe if we figure out what the content is and send that to her, maybe she could pull that together. Obviously, the you know, it's an invitation to join the forum on the 2nd, with all of the necessary links and passwords or whatever to access that.
Yep.
But it really should be as simple as that,
Okay.
in my opinion. And then she can mail that out just to make sure it gets there, you know, sort of in people's mailboxes, hopefully by early next week.
Okay. All right. So content. So obviously the date, the code. So we'll have to now. Who requests that? Does Gina and Lynn? Do you guys request the Zoom link and everything? Do you do that through Owen or do you do that through?
Yeah, for this, for a public meeting, yeah, we would ask Owen for that.
Okay. All right. So that's cool. So date code. And we can mention the link or the survey because we want to hear their questions
Yeah.
beforehand, right? Survey question, and we'll figure out how best to do that. Okay. So we need that rather sooner than rather than later. So
Yeah.
Mike, when are you meeting with Christine?
I'm not meeting with her. What I was gonna do was send her off
Chat, whatever.
the neighborhood thing so she could get started working on the assessor's list. But I would think, you know, it'd be great to get her the information this afternoon if possible. Owen, are you on by chance?
I can text him.
Yeah, I mean, I think all you need from him is the link.
Yep, exactly.
And
We've got everything else.
yeah, and then the date and time we have, and you know, I think, I mean, unless, I don't know if anybody feels otherwise, but I think that's kind of the major content that we would need on that mailer.
I suppose maybe to expedite, instead of creating that or updating that last Survey Monkey with the one question, should we just use the Dale Street Project Gmail email as a place to submit questions to simplify and expedite?
I think that makes sense, Anna Mae.
Okay, all right. So
Or
on that,
just be on the lookout for as these questions come in.
okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe in the subject line, we can request, you know, Wheelock neighborhood question or something or other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've gotten a lot of questions already through the last
Yeah.
that survey, and so I mean, I don't know how many more we're gonna get or how many new ones. So I don't know that that needs to be a big focus. It's a short period of time too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's really about communicating and getting people to show up more than anything.
Okay. All right. Understood. Cool. All right.
I'm sorry, can I just make a suggestion going back to the
Absolutely.
sandwich boards? Just from a perception perspective, because it does seem that a lot of people feel as though it's a last minute, they find out last minute about certain things. Whether that is true or not, that's not the point, but that's their perception. If we were to put a sandwich board even on the corner of one of those streets that's across the street from Wheelock, just saying save the date, Wheelock community, save the date for November 2nd for a Wheelock forum, just so that way, and then the information isn't out there for the public because they would have to reach out for the, you know, for the Zoom information. And then the public feels as though they are, at least they're hearing about it, they'll start talking about it. And the majority of those people that live there walk to Wheelock, like to walk their dogs or walk in the path. So I feel like that would be a good place where everybody is going to see it, instead of putting it down at the bottom where it's going to be seen by the public more.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think the one thing that we would need would be something on that sandwich board that had a way for people to contact us.
Well, will we put just that email address, that Dale Street, that Gmail address that we have?
Yep, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right, so I did call Signorama just in case we were going to go down this road, and so It's $69.50 per side. We would need two, and really it's just a 24-hour turnaround, and we would need approval by the select board and just the steps that are needed.
So how would we do all that in time? I guess that's what it sounds like, as Nicole said, the idea is to get it out quickly, but to go through the process of getting approvals, and isn't there also a sign committee?
I think, no, you just contact, who's the secretary for I have her, is it Evelyn? So,
Yep.
yeah, and sometimes Evelyn will send them an email, the Board of Selectmen, an email and say, is this cool to put up?
Okay.
I would suppose that it's really the visual of putting it together. And
Sure.
Is Tim Baker your guru on putting things together? Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Are you the visual master for putting things together?
Well, sure, we can use that word. That's fine.
All right, because I'm thinking, and people chime in, please, but we have that cool logo that Janie Boylan put together, so that could be the logo, Wheelock neighborhood, and Tim, I can email you, and Mike, I'll make sure that you approve it, just the text for the sandwich board and the invite, and maybe we can get these things out. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Sure.
Nicole, I like your idea of, maybe not then putting it on Elm and South, but, deeper in, maybe by Cross or
Right.
even right in front of, actually, if we put it in front of Wheelock, we don't need Board of Selectmen. I think we would just need Holly's
Oh,
permission.
yeah, you're right. Yep.
So do you guys think that's a better spot? Like on Wheelock property, like right there where people turn in? I don't know.
I think obviously if we're looking at like Cross and Elm, then we're talking about somebody's property. The downside to moving it further down Wheelock is those neighbors that don't go down that way, like people up on Knollwood that may not necessarily go down that way. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I think it's safer to put it on Wheelock property personally than
Okay.
try to have to figure out how to put it on someone's private property.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
This is just so that people will start talking. It's not giving them all of that information. And then everybody who receives those postcards will receive that invite personally.
Exactly. No, I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Are you guys allowed to publish it through the district's communications process, or is that off limits given the need to separate the two? In
No,
other
we-
words, I'm thinking, a lot of schools put out a sandwich board all the time that says, big basketball game tomorrow night, or they have, many communities, they just have the scrolling script, which Wheelock does not have, but it's not unusual for a school to be communicating to parents and others about an upcoming event.
Yeah, I think the point was about if we put it on the school property that we don't necessarily need to go through the Board of Selectmen, right?
Yeah, that saves us a step. But we could, to Larry's point, though, we could put an announcement. Nicole brought this up at our last meeting in terms of putting it old school Thursday packet. A lot of the principals have blogs now to just announce that as a community topic.
Right.
Sure. All right. Beautiful. All right, so we've got a lot to do. So focus, sandwich board, print things. Let's see. Oh, so the website. Tina, you had brought this up at the last meeting in terms of a layperson's friendlier website. I don't know, was there any discussion about that in the working group? Is this something we should even consider, or?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, Tina, if I don't need to jump in, but we did talk about that. And what we're going to do is we're going to consolidate the FAQs
Yeah,
to one document, and just so it's easier to read, we'll have sort of an index with subjects. And so basically we're working on it now. We're just gonna have one document. And I did talk to Owen about how we can post it on the website. And I will talk with him in greater detail about how we want to see it, but it's just going to be simplified. All the FAQ questions are going to be in one document, easy for someone to see, and it should just be labeled in a way that's just easy for people to identify what it is. And I don't know, maybe it can be arranged somewhere differently on the site so it stands out on its own rather than in that list of all of those items. So we're working on that now, Anime.
okay, all right, very good.
Yep, so we'll keep
And-
you posted.
And the only thing I would add is we need to make sure it's a living document because the questions will change as we go forward in the process. So I
Yeah.
think that's, that's something to also plan for the future.
Yeah. So we'll figure out how the logistics of that.
Okay, all right, very good.
Yeah.
I had another community
Can I
member.
just
Yeah,
I just on the website, I think making those tweaks, and I don't mean, it's a complicated website even with those tweaks, and I think it's good for where we're at right now. But once we get through the 10th and we really start marching towards a date where we're having, the community vote, that it needs to be a little bit more user-friendly and current and fresh, and telling the story of the project as it goes on. So I can live with what you're talking about now, Gina, to get to where we need to go to the end of the year. But for January, going into the spring and going into engaging the whole community towards a bigger vote, I think we need to think a little bit more creatively and broader. And I know that's extra work for people, so I was hesitating to say it, but I do just want to mark that for a conversation to have once we get through this chunk of work, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that does make sense, Tracy. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely
You
right.
know, I don't think we need to like run and rush to do it now, but when we get to that next piece, once we get through these hurdles, it just needs to be an easier process to use and get out some of the details. And you know how like sometimes websites now, they're more of a scroll. I think one of the things I've learned in my social media is that a lot of people are accessing things from the phone. So as we're going towards getting to a vote and maybe texting out and doing a little bit more creative outreach that we would do, we just need to be cognizant that even from the phone mobile view, that piece is working for us the way we need it to. Anyway, that's just to mark at once we get through this hurdle, not to weigh us down today.
Yeah,
no, I think
I
that's a
agree.
great point, Tracy. And I want to put a pin in that, but I also want to let you guys know. So another community member had mentioned there is a website called medfieldpbc.org, which is the Permanent Building Committee. He had mentioned we could perhaps add a school tab to that. And then, so I think it's got other.
Well, I did want to chime in on that. Sorry to
Oh, yeah,
interrupt, but
please.
I don't think that's going to be an option for us.
Oh,
I think that-
okay. All
I
right.
think that this needs to stay on a public
Okay.
website.
And I'm glad,
That
'cause
was-
I wanted
That was something that Tom put together when we were doing the public safety building. He did it on his own to
Okay. I
assist with
understand.
communications there, but this is much better to be focused more on the school's website, and it can be changed and modified, and I think they're willing to do that if we give them sort of
Direction.
some sort of direction on what you're thinking in terms of simplifying it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So school website is where it should be housed, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
But maybe a new vision of it. Okay.
if I had to say in anything, if it could be housed in a place that we could access it and didn't have to go through 5 people, like we just need to be able to, that this group can do it. But maybe that's me and I'm just old and getting more controlling as the days go on. But I think that things, as we get closer to the date, things move. Even in this pace, they're slow and then they're very rapid. And when you get to that rapid piece, you need to be able to respond quicker. And I think that's where we've had some of our little glitches up to the date, is that we just haven't been able to hit the rapid as nice as we've been able to paddle in the slower. I don't know canoeing, so I'm losing my analogy. But anyway, that's what I will say there.
Essentially, yes, this is
I don't wanna
public
wait
sector. It's just, it's so many more hoops to jump through, but I hear
Right.
you, Tracy.
We just, unfortunately, there's certain laws that we have to comply with that
It's
make
brutal.
speed a struggle.
I sympathize, believe me, but okay. All right. Understood. All right. All righty. And so really next steps is we've got to get that sandwich board image. We've got to get the postcard wording. I'm getting hold of Owen to create the link for the Zoom for the meeting. And then I think thereafter we can move on that plan of, the five top things or whatever that is in terms of deep dives moving forward and having a social media programming strategy. Is that fair? Okay, cool. Anything else we should talk about before we approve the minutes?
The only other suggestion I had, and here I hate talking when the person doesn't have their video on, so I'm going to put my video on, even though I'm literally still in my PJs getting something ready today for the food cupboard. But I think that one of the future things is if we could get together smaller, like one-page talking points on the project, maybe once we get through the selectmen's vote. I just want to mark it for a future discussion, that we're giving to school committee members, that we're giving to our own group, that we're giving to the building committee, but it's those 10 critical things that when we're out and about talking, that we're on the same page, about how we want to discuss the project publicly, and sort of the frequently asked questions are great. I learned so much from them, but I think to boil it down just as a talking point, which I think is very customary use, just as a tool, especially for other committee members who might not be as engaged, especially on the school committee and other, we can also give it to other folks, the principals that make sense.
Awesome idea. I really like that. Thank you.
So I think someone had mentioned at some point during our discussion on FAQs is, as that document evolves and grows, is sort of almost separating it out into categories, traffic or tax impact or, whatever the other categories may be. Because you're right, each of those categories could be boiled down into sort of a single sheet. But those would be the 5 or 10 most salient categories for discussion.
Tracy, you're spot on. What I've seen in other projects is those are incredibly helpful when you have very specific issues, and they provide an opportunity for you to give more detail than you could in a presentation, just because of, whether it's a pamphlet or a two-sided 8.5 by 11. And so I think I can show some examples of ones that we've done with other districts, which have been very helpful. One that really kind of sticks in my brain is also timeline. So people want to know, there's almost a graphic of when did we start issuing the SOI? When did we get the SOI to where we are now? Because there's always that question at the end before town vote, which is, I've got a better idea. Let's do it this way. And then you have to explain. Then you have to start the process all over.
Super. So if you have examples of that, Emily, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Because that would be a really key piece. Cool. Super. Anything else? No. All right. Great. So I don't know if folks have taken a look at my very rough draft minutes for October 6th and October 15th. And if we have someone to motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Tracy. Now we'll take a vote. Tim Bonfati,
Yes.
Tracy Rogers,
Yes. Yes.
Nicole Drummond,
Yes.
Anna Mae O'Shea Brooke. Yes, super. So now would you folks prefer to have this as the meeting time, a Thursday at noon, or should I keep doing the doodles? To find, because I know everybody's schedule is all over the place and I want to be respectful. Do we have suggestions? Doodle or Thursday at noon?
I mean, Thursday at noon's generally good for me.
Okay. Larry, thumbs up. Anyone else? Okay, Emily, how about Nicole and Tracy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Tracy, I know you have food covered on Thursdays. Is this okay or?
Just once a month. This just happens to be the once a month that I'm doing it, but other than that, I'm good. So it'll be fine.
Right,
It's just whatever.
Okay.
The other thing I did want to mention is I just sent to the group that Facebook thing and the link to the email sign up for the emails that Tom does on the MailChimp. So
Yes.
at some point, Anna Mae, when you want people to, maybe Nicole, that might be good for you to send to people if it makes sense. We had 367 contacts when we contacted Tom after the last meeting we had. And I think it would be good to get that up gradually or as much as we can, because that direct email has a great opening rate according to Tom, and is it's really beneficial to us to get our word out in addition to social media. So I just resent that piece to people today.
Oh, goody. Thank you. And actually, Tim Baker, maybe you could shed some light on this, please. So in within Facebook, so, or actually let's backtrack. On the Dale Street Project website, right at the top, you know, you can subscribe to the email list. Is it possible to put that live graphic in Facebook without a link, so it's actually a visual versus clicking through?
Are you talking about like when I put the link in the header or?
Yes. You know, so if you go to the Dale Street Project website, right at the top of the page, it says, you know, subscribe to our email list, and you just type in your email. So I'm wondering if that can be a face or a social media post without having to click through a link. Does that make sense?
You mean just like how you typically send it to me with as a graphic? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, versus click here.
So on Facebook, as of right now, no.
Okay.
They don't allow you. So even if you do a PDF, it basically reduces the file size when you upload it. So it takes any live links or other attachments and compresses them.
Okay. I was just thinking, because to Tracy's point, we want to build that email list, and I'm wondering if that could be our next push, and so we can figure that out. But I think, you know, if you know, Nicole can push it out and various folks, you know, on the different sites, that'll be good. All right, perfect. So I'll send that as well. All right, so thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, and seconded by Tim. I'll take a roll call vote. Tim Bonfati,
Yes.
Nicole Drummond,
Yes.
Tracy Rogers. I think she's a yes. All right, and Anna Mae O'Shea Brooke, yes. Thank you guys. See you next Thursday at noon.
Thanks,
Thank
Anna
you.
Mae.
Thank you. Bye.